Goes up. Please rise for a pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I call this meeting of Independent School District 544 to order. Clerk, will you establish a quorum for us, please?
Certainly. Kirby Anderson.
Present.
Natalie Knudsen. Here. Melanie Cole.
Present.
Matthew Lemke.
Here.
Melissa Hermes. Present. Stephen Bigasa.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve the agenda. There was one modification to the one that was sent out to us, and that's item number 5 under new business, and that's the 2019-2020 IQ Academy school calendar. With that one addition, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda passes. Moving on to reports, we have Scott Colbeck, our elementary principal, here for Adams and McKinley.
Good evening, school board. I just want to update you on a few things that are happening in our schools. Right now, we're in the thick of our Booster-thon fundraiser. This is the same fundraiser that you've heard about from Mrs. Rund and myself now for a little while. This fundraiser raised $25,000 for our elementary schools last year. And we had a meeting with the Booster-thon folks today, and we're sitting right now at about $10,000 raised for our schools. And we're going to be wrapping up our fundraising efforts this week with the fun run, also known as the Otter Dash. That's going to be on Friday. We're hoping for a nice day so we can hold this thing outside on our football field. Booster-thon is a pretty impressive organization. We appreciate the good work that they do, and it's a great and efficient way to raise good funds for our schools to enhance opportunities for our kids. Also, we have scheduled our second grade, we call it the orientation visit to Cleveland School. That's going to be on May 14th. That's always an exciting day. Our second graders head over to Cleveland to spend a morning there. We appreciate the third grade teachers and the activities that they schedule for our second graders on that day. So we're looking forward to that here coming up next month. Testing season is upon us. Mca Testing started today at McKinley School and at Adams School. We do Mca Testing 3 times a year, fall, winter, spring. It's a way to measure the growth of an individual child from fall to spring in the areas of reading and math. So we appreciate our proctors who spend their days in the lab right now making sure that they create good testing conditions for our students. Wanted to let you know that we plan to do some interviewing to fill some elementary music positions. We look to do that a week from tomorrow, so Tuesday, April 30th. We're excited about the applicant pool that we have and the folks that have been screened to be interviewed a week from tomorrow. So we, of course, it's no secret, we need to replace our music teacher at Adams School and our music teacher at McKinley School. So I just want to publicly thank Everett Jacobson and Geralyn Lysing for their excellent teaching at our elementary schools over the past many years. Also, we have some other interviews coming up Saturday, May 4th, believe it or not. We're going to be interviewing for some open teaching positions in our district. I know we have a couple at Adams School and perhaps one here at Kennedy, so Mr. Monkey, Mrs. Rund, and I will lead 3 different groups as we bring in 3 teacher candidates at a time and rotate them through the smaller groups, and we can meet a lot of people in a short amount of time through that process. So just wanted to update you a little bit on that. Wanted to give a little shout out to Jamie Lill. She's our phy ed teacher at McKinley School. She recently participated in what's called Jump Rope for Heart and helped raise $11,600 for the American Heart Association. And in doing that, was able to bring in $850 for herself to purchase supplies for the phy ed department at McKinley School. So we appreciate that. We're going to have a little celebration here coming up in the near future to reward some of the kids who did some outstanding fundraising for the American Heart Association, and those kids will get to do something with a pie into some part of a staff member's body, so I think it's a pie to a face. And we did that last year, and of course that creates a lot of excitement. Last month, this month, but a couple weeks ago, we bussed all of our elementary kids downtown to a Center for the Arts for a pretty spectacular play called Dragons Love Tacos. That would not have happened had we not done the fundraiser last year, which covered the cost of some of these cool activities this year. Lastly, I want to leave you with this. Today at Adams School, after school, we had Mr. John Dameth leading an effort with Mr. John Helland, who's a retired staff member of our district, along with another second grade teacher, Kristen Knutson, and then first grade teacher, Jeremy Knick. Those 4 individuals led 16 students in an after-school program called Lego We Do. Lego We Do. 16 kids signed up through Community Ed. I talked to Mr. Dameth about that today. He said they had a great time. The supplies used for this after-school program come through our PTO and our 544 Foundation. 8 Lego kits at $200 a piece, that's $1,600, and 8 iPads at $200 a piece, another $16. So, $3,200, closer to probably $3,500 needed for the supplies and the equipment to run this after-school program. So he was pretty excited about that. I had a chance to talk to him just prior to leaving and coming over here. What I've noticed over the years is a lot of the things that I see happening in some of these after-school activities, some of the STEAM or STEM programs, eventually ends up filtering its way back into the classroom and just kind of becomes commonplace for all of our students. But it sometimes starts with these initial groups and efforts to meet with kids after school, doing these really neat things, and then it kind of catches on, and it just becomes kind of the normal part of the day in every classroom for all of the kids as our teachers keep purchasing through all of these great resource revenue avenues that we have to purchase things that they can use in the classroom for these things. So thank you to Mr. Dameth and Mr. Helland and Mrs. Knutson and Mr. Knick for leading that after-school program today. They're going to meet a total of 4 times, twice this week and twice next week as well. That's my report for you guys. I can entertain any questions.
Any questions from the board?
So how big is your candidate pool for teachers?
Yeah. For the music positions, I think we had maybe 17 applications. For the other positions that I talked about that we'll be exploring on that Saturday, May 4th, over 70.
Wow.
So we can feel pretty fortunate about that in a district like Fergus Falls, in a district of our size. I think we can always attract some good candidates for these positions.
And I don't know if I caught it or not. So, Mr. Dameth, is this part of the thing that he started last year? The STEAM? That's what the Lego thing was, right?
This is actually kind of a branch off of that, and this
Okay.
is new. So
Okay.
what he tried today was a new effort that was able to reach little bit of a smaller group of kids, 16.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's going to do it 4 times and step back and reassess, but I think it's been met with great anticipation. I think there were, probably as many as 50 kids who signed up through Community Ed for 16 spots. Very popular.
That was kind of the deal with the STEAM. After school, there's too many kids that wanted to do it. And
Yeah, which is why they kept running more and more programs so that they could kind of reach everybody.
Right.
So, I mean, certainly we had students, I think we ran that 3 different times this year, and we had families, of course, that would have had their child in at 3 different times, but
Right.
because there was so much interest in it, anybody who had registered for other sessions was kind of out of the mix for the next, because we wanted to make sure we gave everybody that opportunity.
What time is the fun run on Friday?
Oh, yeah, good question. So let's see if I have this right. Kindergarten and first grade will be running at 9:15.
Okay.
Second grade and fourth grade will be running at 10:15.
Okay.
and third grade at 12:15.
And this is the one where people signed up for so many dollars per lap or? fixed
Yes,
amount.
yes, so, yeah, you can sponsor children X amount of dollars per lap.
Yep.
It's pretty controlled, they make sure each student gets about 30 to 35 laps in. Our backup plan is if we're not able to run on our football field, Mr. Monkey and his staff in this building have been nice enough to offer up the Gold Gym as the backup plan. Last year, our backup plan was the community arena, but that's already scheduled for an event on that particular day, this Friday. Forecast right now calls for about 55 degrees, cloudy, and a 10% chance of rain. Boosterthon folks say that's perfect conditions for this type of activity.
Thank you.
And they're not running around the whole track
No.
30 times.
It's
No.
a smaller,
small-
yep, it's a much smaller course
Okay.
that they can
It's
fit.
13 miles.
They can fit on the width of the football field. And they have two courses, you know, so put the kindergartners over here on this course, the first graders over here on this course. Same with the second and fourth graders, they'll split them up. Parents are welcome to come and watch their child run. They can sit in the football bleachers on the home side, or they are welcome to come down onto the field and be on the interior of the track and watch their child from there.
I emailed Kelsey Felstool if
Mhm.
you want to volunteer for an
Okay.
hour of it or something.
Yeah, I saw that.
She just said
Sure.
volunteers are welcome.
Okay.
These guys do such a great job. I mean, this is a nationwide fundraising company. In fact, just recently, I found out that my nephew and nieces were running their 30 to 35 laps in North Carolina.
Mhm.
I said, I know what that is, it's Boosterthon. So they're all over the place.
Yep.
They have teams in most of the states in our country. We have received in our school, in this fundraising effort, pledges have come in from, I think now 21 different states, 2 different countries. About 33% of the money that has come in has been from parents. About 33% has been from grandparents. And then the other third is a mixture of just other folks, other family members, friends, and so on.
Any other questions? Thank you, Scott. Kindy Run, elementary principal, Cleveland.
Hello.
Welcome.
At Cleveland, we are in the midst of Mca testing, which are the required Minnesota comprehensive assessments. For our third graders, it is their first time taking this test, so their teachers have talked them through and made sure that they're comfortable in the computer labs and prepared to take the test. Reminded them that it's an untimed test, so they can take their time and do their best. And we fire them up by saying, this is your opportunity to show us what you know, what you've learned during your third grade year or fourth grade year. So we want them to feel comfortable and confident going in to take those tests. So the past 2 weeks, students have taken the Mca reading test. Today, we started taking the Mca math test. And those are valuable scores that we use to measure student achievement, measure that year of growth, and celebrate with them, celebrate all those things that they've learned and help them believe that they're ready for the next grade. So it's a good time. And a big thank you goes out to Sherry Bernard. She is one of our para-educators at Cleveland who really oversees the details of the Mca testing and lines up our test proctors and communicates with teachers and just does an outstanding job of coordinating the efforts that go hand in hand with Mca testing. So that it's going well. And then the spring of each year brings about many events that third and fourth grade students look forward to. Our fourth grade orchestra is just right over 100 students, and they have added to their repertoire over the course of this year. They look forward to their annual orchestra tour through the elementary schools in Fergus Falls, and that's going to take place next week, Thursday, May 2nd. So they're brushing up on polishing things up and getting ready to tour across the district that day. They get to pause and have lunch either at the park, or one year they were at the Center for the Arts indoors. So special day for them, and a great way for them to celebrate their first year of learning how to play an instrument. And then fourth graders have the opportunity to join band in fifth grade. So to prepare them for making an instrument selection, they've recently been exposed to different instruments that are played in the band during their music class time at Cleveland. They've gotten to hold instruments, even play a few of them, but learn and hear how each of the instruments sound. Next May 2nd, the band directors host a band orientation, next Wednesday, May 2nd, a band orientation here.
First, this will be the first.
The first, thank you.
Yeah.
The first, all the fourth graders will come over to Kennedy at the end of the school day and have a band orientation in the auditorium. And then that following evening, the band directors host instrument or band sign-up night at Cleveland. And they have vendors there with the various instruments, so parents can learn more about possibly renting an instrument or purchasing and getting their child set up for summer band lessons, and that leads them into next school year. So there's a lot of buzz around fourth grade right now with orchestra and band and song flutes. Mrs. Danielson's going to be teaching their song flute unit here in May, so we are thoroughly entertained during the day.
That's a good word for it.
Yeah, right, and then they take them home. That's prepared, but field trips, each grade level has some special field trips planned. May 2nd and 3rd, the third grade classes will take their final visits out to Prairie Wetlands Learning Center. And then May 7th and 14th, the fourth grade sections are going to be traveling to Glendalough for some planned activities there, and some cross-curricular activities that the teachers have planned for them to enjoy at Glendalough. And thanks to the efforts of our Otter PTO and the fundraising that they have done, they are making it possible for the Science Museum of Minnesota to come to us the week of May 7th through the 10th. Their focus is going to be on electricity, and the third and fourth grade levels will each have an assembly that focuses on electricity, and then thereafter each classroom will have a residency opportunity or experience in a small classroom, giving everybody a little more hands-on learning opportunity, and that too is going to focus on electricity, so that'll be exciting. We will have our fourth resident artist come to Cleveland the week of May 13th. And the week of May 20th, and so all of the students will be able to learn a little bit about printmaking from Mike Weatherly, and I believe each student is going to be able to make, design a print and then make some prints, so they learn about that process and what goes into that. And really truly, I see that this is really help students have that appreciation for art, and that what goes into creating and the creativity involved, and different mediums throughout these artists that have been able to come and spend some time with them at Cleveland. So we are grateful for that. And then to prepare for the transition to fifth grade, each of the fourth grade sections have a scheduled visit to Kennedy Secondary School, where Mr. Monkey will welcome them and provide them a brief tour of the building. So kind of gives them that sense that this is going to be their school next year too, and find some comfort in that, and then also some pride and ownership as well. So lots of things happening here to finish out the school years. And that's what I have for tonight.
Any questions for Tindy?
Thank you.
Thank you. Dean Monkey, secondary principal.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Registration process at the high school continues at about 100 miles an hour. Our target date, of course, is May 1st to try to get this turned over to counselors. Sometimes especially with our juniors and seniors, you just run into single offering courses that butt up against each other in the same hour. And the students unfortunately have to make a choice between one or the other. So it's the computer can't solve all of the conflicts for us. Sometimes the students and the parents just have to make a choice. And so we want to give them those last 4 weeks here in May to try to make those adjustments so we can have as many students as possible walk out of here with a full schedule for next year before they even leave for this year. And then we're going to be very shortly here in about a week into the sprint for night activities here. And just to give you a little background on that, Wednesday night of this week, we're looking to have a senior high orchestra recital, and that's going to happen at 5 o'clock. And basically it takes about an hour. So we can go on a Wednesday night here from 5 until 6:15 and still get students off to commitments that they may have at church activities. So we're going to run that this Wednesday, and then next Monday, we're looking at our all-school jazz concert, which has been a favorite of the community and a lot of people here to get a chance to hear our multiple jazz groups here on next Monday night at 7 o'clock. And then if we look through the other events, starting on May 1st until May 20th, we can go with a 5th grade choir concert, senior high band, middle school band, high school spring play, all-school orchestra, senior high choir, middle school choir, and the Blondell Fine Arts Festival. And of course, because of our anticipated little bit earlier graduation date, we need to fit that in within 20 days. So it's going to be a great race, and it should be just a whole lot of fun. But we would encourage parents to check our activities calendar that may be out there, because all of those dates should be listed on those so they can check and see if they can show up here for any of those events. And then just warning out ahead of time here in relationship to graduation. We're going to hit May here really quickly, and on the May 23rd at 7 o'clock at night, we'll be having our ALC graduation right here in the auditorium starting at 7 o'clock. And then on the 24th, that Friday of May here, we'll be looking at a 7 o'clock high school graduation here. And that graduation, of course, is open to our students that attend the ALC or our IQ Academy or Kennedy Secondary School here. We'll have all 3 of those different high schools graduating on that same night. And then just a little bit, life at IQ Academy. Just today, we hit 769 total students. So we're still anticipating by the end of this school year that we'll probably break that 800 count for our K through 12. Because some of the other schools that use the same provider that we do have already closed their doors for the year, and we keep ours open all the way through the school year. So we'll see some more of those coming our way as well. So that's what I had here for you tonight. Any questions for me?
Any questions for me? Thank you. Superintendent Ness.
Yes, one more, another calendar item, May 1st, Dollars for Scholars is their annual banquet out at the Big Wood, and they hand out, it just varies each year, anywhere from 60 to 70 students, receive a lot of dollars, which is great. Tomorrow, I'm part of an interview team that is going to be looking at the early childhood coordinator, so Karen Hanen's position. This is hired through the service co-op, but basically assigned to our district, so we're working with that. And one of the items in our work session, work days, I think maybe as board members, you might have gotten more calls than I have even. When are we making these days up? What are we doing? All of that. So we'll have an opportunity to sit down and look at that. And so I know in DTEC, lots of concerts, but we have May, I think 6, I think it is, senior recognition. There's just a lot of good things that happen in May. So again, as Mr. Mackey said, look at the calendar because that's going to be updated. We got lots of things happening in a short period of time. So.
Any questions for Superintendent Ness? Thank you. Moving on, we have a resolution of acknowledgement.
Okay, I'd like to offer the following resolution and move for its adoption. Congratulations to Cheryl Borman, IQ Academy School Counselor, for being selected as the recipient of the 2019 MSCA Multi-Level School Counselor of the Year Award. And thank you to Connie Knapp for her donations of a flute, 2 clarinets, and a violin to the Kennedy Secondary School Music Department. And thank you to Locators and Supplies Incorporated for their donation of a used van to the Auto Shop Department. And congratulations to Izzy Neck on receiving 8th place in poetry at the state speech competition.
Do we have a second on that resolution?
I'll second that.
Kirby? Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Natalie Knudsen.
Yes.
Melanie Cole.
Yes.
Matthew Lemke.
Yes.
Missy Hermes, yes. Stephen Vigasa.
Yes.
And Kirby Anderson.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on to our general consent items, we have the minutes for the April 8th, 2019 board meeting. Personnel, Elaine Jenke.
Yes, our personnel's a little shorter right now, for this meeting anyway, so that's nice. It's a nice change. I recommend the support staff hire of Heidi Brown, and she's a long-term special ed para substitute for a maternity leave over at McKinley School. And then also approval of the retirement of Geralyn Lacing, elementary music teacher over at McKinley. Also, there will be a resolution on her 25 years of service under new business.
Do we have a motion to approve the general consent items?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
1 second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. There is no old business. Moving on to new business, we have an addition of a .3333 FTE social studies teaching position for the 2019-2020 school year. Do we have a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on that?
That's also known as 1/3.
Yes. I just thought I'd just read exactly what it said.
2 processes.
Yes. Any other discussion on that? All right, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 2, we have a service agreement between the Fergus Falls School District 544 and Otter Tail County for the transportation of children and youth in foster care placement, effective April 1st of 2019 to December 31st of 2019. Superintendent Ness, do you want to comment on this before that?
Yes, this is an agreement that Otter Tail County has with each school district in the county. And the idea behind this is when a student gets placed in foster care, if at all possible, you would like to keep the student in the same school district. So if it's too far away, this would not work for us. But if it's a neighboring district not too far away, this agreement outlines how far we would go, who would be paying, all of those types of things. So I recommend approval of the agreement.
Do we have a motion to approve the motion here?
So moved.
So we have a move. Thank you, Melanie. Do we have a second?
1 second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 3, Melanie, you want to read that resolution for us?
Yes, resolution on the retirement of Geralyn Lacing. Whereas Geralyn Lacing began her employment with the Fergus Falls Public Schools in September 1993, and whereas Geralyn has been a valued employee with Fergus Falls Public Schools for the past 25 years, and whereas Geralyn has done an excellent job as a music teacher in a variety of settings and grade levels for the district, and now therefore be it resolved by the Fergus Falls School Board to thank Geralyn Lacing for her 25 years of dedicated service to Fergus Falls Public Schools. I'll offer the resolution and move for its adoption.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Matthew Lemke.
Yes.
Missy Hermes, yes. Stephen Vigasa.
Yes.
Kirby Anderson.
Yes.
Natalie Knudsen.
Yes.
Melanie Cole.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Item number 4, we have a resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of teaching contracts of blank, a probationary teacher. Whereas blank is a probationary teacher in the Independent School District number 544, be it resolved by the School Board of Independent School District 544 that pursuant to Minnesota statutes 122 A.40 subdivision 5, that the teaching contract of blank, a probationary teacher in Independent School District number 544 is hereby terminated at the close of the current 2018-2019 school year. Be it further resolved that written notice be sent to said teacher regarding termination and non-renewal of her contract as provided by law, and that said notice shall be in substantially the following form. Notice of termination and non-renewal. Dear Ms. and Mr., you are hereby notified that at a regular meeting of the School Board of Independent School District number 544, held on April 22nd, 2019, a resolution was adopted by the majority roll call vote to terminate your contract effective at the end of the current school year, and not to renew your contract for the 2019-2020 school year. Said action of the board is taken pursuant to MS 122A.40 subdivision 5. You may officially request that the school board give its reasons for the non-renewal of your teaching contract. For your information, however, this action is taken because of financial conditions of the school district. Sincerely, Missy Melissa Hermes, Clerk, School Board of Independent School District 544. Number 1 is Diane Anderson, number 2, Hannah Nelson, number 3, Douglas Stave, and then number 4 is Barb Zempel. Would somebody offer that resolution, move for its adoption?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Discussion. Roll call, please.
Kirby Anderson.
Yes.
Natalie Knudsen.
Yes.
Melanie Cole.
Yes.
Matthew Lemke.
Yes.
C. Hermes, yes. Stephen Vigasa.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Item number 5 is the 2019-2020 IQ school calendar. It is very similar to our calendar that we adopted for Kennedy and ALC. So with that, do I have a motion to approve the calendar?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
And the calendar is in their packet also, so if you want to refer back to it, it is in the packet, okay? Electronic packet, I should say.
That concludes our regular school board meeting. Our next regular school board meeting will be Monday, May 13th, 5:15 p.m. right here at the Outer Community Room at Kennedy Secondary School. Following the adjournment of this meeting, we will go into a work session to talk about the 18-19 school calendar, snow days, buildings, and staffing. With that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.